across the street is this Revolutionary War cemetery.
We noticed what looked like a white cloud hovering in the middle of the cemetery. Now, we don't believe in ghosts, but it sure looked like a ghost.
We're going to be dealing with a trial of a woman who allegedly robbed at gunpoint a 7-Eleven.
She was wearing a religious face covering. You actually couldn't even see her.
It's not a Kiddush Hashem when the safety, security person always says, it's Hashem doing this. I would have died a long time ago. Hashem is keeping me alive because of you, Kinderlach.
Our mission is to infuse the world with godliness and holiness, to be Tselem Elokim wherever we are.
Kiddush Hashem, a display of what HaKadosh Baruch Hu's actions are through the actions that you do. So to speak, your whole life is L'man Hashem.
The words of the Yugimel Midas are said many times during the Yemei HaSlichos. Hashem, Hashem, Kel Rachum V'Chanun. We say these words again and again. But their true power is when we bring these Midas of compassion, kindness, and honesty to life in our every interaction. Rav Dessler teaches that the ultimate purpose of the mitzvah of Halachta B'Drachav, walking in the ways of Hashem, is to be a representative of His Midas. Our mission is to infuse the world with godliness and holiness, to be Tselem Elokim wherever we are. This is how we fulfill our ultimate goal of being Mekadesh Shem Shamayim. Kol hanikra b'shmi l'chvaydi barasiv, whoever is called by my name, I have created for my honor. The names of Hashem are His Midas. This pasuk is telling us that when we embody Rachamim, Chesed, and Emes, we carry His identity, and that is how we bring honor to His name. Today you will witness the true power of the Midas HaRachamim in action. You will see how when we develop our Tselem Elokim and mirror Hashem's Midas, whether in our homes or in the outside world, we naturally ignite the Tselem Elokim in everyone around us. We are here for one reason, Lemancha, for your glory, to bring honor to Hashem's name. Welcome to the Lemancha Yemei Selichos event. We invite you to immerse yourself, to see, to feel, to experience the essence and beauty of living Kiddush Hashem every day.
Thursday night, the Olam stays up to learn a little later than usual. I don't think I was learning with Moshe Greenwald at that point, but he was also there in the base medrash. And we both decided to leave. We were the last two.
We had finished learning, and we started walking out of the yeshiva, and we were on Saddle River Road, walking towards Maple Avenue. And we used to do this often.
It was quite dark. It was after 1 o'clock in the morning, quiet, and we were just standing on the corner of West Maple and Saddle, schmoozing. And then we both were just staring out right there on the corner of West Maple and Saddle.
And we were looking across the street is this Revolutionary War cemetery. We see, like, in the moonlight, some kind of a white shadowy thing floating above the gravestones. And we got scared.
We noticed what looked like a white cloud hovering and going up and down in the middle of the cemetery. Now, we don't believe in ghosts, but it sure looked like a ghost. Moshe said to me, Arya, I gotta check this out. I said, I'm not so sure it's such a good idea. He says, this is just too intriguing. Let's see what it is.
I said, listen, I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna cut you the place where Beis Mershalim is, And if anything happens, I'll give a big shout and I'll let you know. So I went there, peered through the bushes, and I saw that it wasn't a ghost. It wasn't anything sinister. It was our dear Rebbe, the great Rabbi Mordechai Schwab.
And he came back out and he said, Aryeh, it's Rebbe. So which Rebbe? Rav Schwab. So, what? What's he doing? I don't know. He's going through the cemetery and bending down. So we decided to speak to Rav Schwab after Shacharis the next morning.
The next day, we asked him, what was Rebbe doing in the cemetery? He said, this is the Yiddish neighborhood. It's a Goyish cemetery, soldiers from the Revolutionary War, and people come to this cemetery to pay respect to these people who passed away. And I feel that the Yiddish neighborhood, it should be clean. It would be a chil Hashem if it was left dirty before these people came.
He said they're going to think that maybe the Jews don't care about our cemetery and they're throwing garbage into our cemetery. So even though I know that's not the case, he wants to make sure there's no question about it. And Thursday night, he would go and pick up all the garbage that had blown into the cemetery so that no one should even think that someone had done something not nice.
Most people think chil Hashem, I have to be careful, I shouldn't make a chil Hashem. But let's say you're not involved, something's happening, pretty much you mind your own business. He was careful that it shouldn't be a chil Hashem. Chil Hashem means, mechal Hashem shamayim. It makes no difference, you do it or somebody else does it.
I just heard now that someone who heard this story took the lesson to heart.
My oldest son, Naftali, is a Talmud in Yeshiva Katana Aruvin. For second grade, he had a Rebbe, Rabbi Dov Weissman. As part of the second grade curriculum, they focus each week on a particular gadol. One week he came home and he told us about Rabbi Dov Weissman's grandfather, Rav Mordechai Schwab.
Rabbi Schwab was a really big tzaddik. Rabbi Schwab used to clean up the cemetery.
We live right here in Monsey. I've driven by that cemetery often. It had never occurred to me to go clean the cemetery, but when my son told us the story, I said to him, this is something that we can do too. It's my understanding that it's a veteran cemetery. People come on July 4th. So every year, slightly before July 4th, we go to Rav Mordechai Schwab's kever, we daven, and then we go and clean the cemetery. Rav Schwab had unique sensitivity to everybody. They weren't going to see him, they weren't going to know that anybody cleaned up the cemetery, but he thought about them. So the reason that we continue to do it is really for us, that we want to improve our sensitivity. Once a year we go, that we should be aware, it's practice for us.
So now we're approaching the Yomim Noraim. It's this man that we're being Mamluch HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and we're trying to follow in his ways, asking him to be a Baal HaRachamim. And Rav Mordechai Schwab was a person who cared and thought about other people. Mahu afata HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you are Baal HaRachamim. We have to care and be sensitive to other people's feelings. And in the schus of our behaving that way, HaKadosh Baruch Hu should shower us with the Yud Gimel Midas and give us bracha v'atzlocha and aksiva v'chasim v'toiva.
As we come into the Kiddush Elul, Kiddush Rachmim v'Selichos, obviously, the chance to look back, look over the year overall. Obviously, it wasn't an easy year for Klal Yisrael. From the end of the Tkufa of Tishrei, Shmini Atzeres last year, moving forward, Klal Yisrael is an Tzorah. Gives us an opportunity to reflect, some introspection, thinking about where we're holding. What are we supposed to be doing at this point? Obviously, Tshuva, Haisim Toivim, things we're supposed to be doing. Tshuva, Tfilut, Stokim, Avinas, Roya, Agzeira, obviously. There's a nekuda though that I think we could stress, and that is we have a tachlis. Each one of us has that tachlis. We're made b'tzelem Elokim. We're made with, so to speak, tzura of the Yotzer HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and we're mandated to act in accordance with that. We're supposed to take ourselves, form ourselves, lead our lives with what's called tzelem Elokim. It's well known in the Akdamet, the Sefer Torah divrei for Moshe Cordovero. He speaks about a person may have the chitzonius, the tzura of HaKadosh Baruch Hu kiviyachol b'tzelem Elokim asa sa'adam, but the pnimius, his actions, his maisim, have to not belie those outside features. It shouldn't be when a person is mechazif es atzura, lies, so to speak, to himself, to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And it really requires us to think differently. We have the opportunity to do the things that we do and create what's called tzelem Elokim. We're told by Chazal, Mahu afato, just like he is, so yourself. That doesn't mean simply certain particular midas, but it talks about everything you do. You're supposed to be living in the way what HaKadosh Baruch Hu does, you do. What you do, HaKadosh Baruch Hu does. To lead a life of kavod shamayim, or Kiddush Hashem, a display of what HaKadosh Baruch Hu's actions are through the actions that you do. So to speak, your whole life is lamancho. You're living with something which is based on what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants you to do. Think in terms of not simply tshuva from the past, but kabbalas, certain things you do, the actions that you take to reflect the fact that you are indeed a tzelem Elokim. Those actions include ben adam l'chaveroi, ben adam l'mokain, and more than anything, ben adam la'atzmai. A person to look at himself and view himself as one who has to reflect kavod shamayim. He has to exhibit the fact that something within himself that's supposed to display kavod shamayim. You get to a point where you realize that every action you do, internally and externally, has meaning both to yourself and to those who observe you. You go through an El where day by day you increase the awareness of what you do have internally and understand that it's kol kula mahu afato. You then enter into a tkufa called Rosh Hashanah, Kabbalas oil malchus shamayim. What we want to be able to do on Rosh Hashanah is say, we want to be mamlich you. We want to be doimit to you. Our actions internally and externally should be similar to what you are, Kadosh Baruch. And then we can ultimately really be a mamlech you and go into a tkufa of the Aseres Yemei Tshuva b'hamlocha until the ultimate day, which Hashem should be zoicha to Yom Shekula Slichos Mechila L'Hoy Yom Tov L'Shel Kiyam Kippurim, for the greatest Yom Tov we should be zoicha to see Kvodan Shal Shamayim, Emes Kiddush Hashem, and Gulos Shal Yisrael.
It was a summer day in Camp Chizzuk Kodesh in Denver, Colorado, and we decided we were going to take our camp on a trip.
We took the kids to downtown Denver and we stopped by the Denver courthouse. We actually went through security. All the bags have to go through. As the morning was going on, the kids actually seemed to be excited. They've never been in a real trial.
Campers and the staff sat down in the gallery in the back of the courtroom. They got some procedural stuff done first, and then they were ready for the case.
You have your cell phones on, nothing electronic that you can record or take pictures.
And sure enough, the judge walks in, all rise.
They brought in a defendant from the side room, handcuffed. She was wearing a prison uniform. She was also wearing a religious face covering. You actually couldn't even see her.
The judge reads off the charges, and he says, we're going to be dealing with a trial of a woman who allegedly robbed at gunpoint a 7-Eleven. And then you have the prosecution calling up the first witness.
Do you solemnly affirm under penalty of perjury that the testimony which you're about to give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
The detective comes, he's first at the scene, he says, yes, it was a dark woman with a long ponytail. It was clearly a weapon. The demand for money, Cinnabons, and a Slurpee. The prosecution calls up another witness.
She was white, of average height, the weight. She had black hair, and her hair was in a braid.
This witness thought it was actually a white person, a white woman. The defense started to say, hey, wait a second, there's a contradiction here. Stira! Between the detective and the witness.
The prosecuting attorney turns to the judge and he says, we need to get this face covering off. We need to be able to identify who is actually here in the court.
The defense lawyer says, well, it's against my client's religion. And the judge says, well, wait a second. When she committed this robbery, she wasn't wearing a head covering. Whether you're the detective or the witness, you clearly saw her.
Your Honor, at this point, people would move to have the vertical removed so an identification can be made.
All objection, Your Honor. That's against my client's religious right.
Well, let me interrupt you just for a minute. How long has she had this religious belief?
Got into a heated debate. Defense, we didn't know why. She was very adamant that she not uncover her face or her hair. Trial judge says, that's it. You're gonna uncover your head, and we're gonna show who you are, you're gonna be convicted. Then the judge instructed one of the police officers in the courtroom to unpin her hair covering with her hands handcuffed behind, turned towards the audience. The kids were staring to see what in the world is gonna happen now. And they uncover her head, slowly lift it up, and believe it or not,
It was actually me with my face half blue and half green, because it was color war. It was color war breakout.
the whole thing from the beginning to the middle to the end was color war 2013, Camp Chayes HaKodesh.
All the kids were excited. Color war breakout. Wow, we never would have expected this in a courtroom. After a few minutes, the judge pounded his gavel. He says,
I want order in the court. Order in the court.
And the judge started to explain the themes of the color war.
The theme is Sir Myra v. Asay Tove.
Sur Meira and Asay Tov. For the next 2 days, color war was going on. They all had fun. It was geschmack. And eventually, blue won. At some point after this trial happened, we followed up with all the different participants in our mock trial. It was a real judge, real lawyers, and everybody had phenomenally positive feedback. But one was really different than the other. And that was the response from the judge. Judge Campbell responded and he said, listen, I was reading through your script that you gave me after we broke out color war, and I never thought about this. This is a new concept, a new perspective for me. Sur Meira, Asay Tov. It's not enough to just avoid the bad. You have to actively, positively going after the good. This is something I have to put into practice. And this was a judge who has been in the justice system for so many years. Okay, fine, thank you. It was nice. Thanks for helping us with the case. And it would be the end of the story.
About a week and a half later, I got a phone call from a woman who identified herself as Jewish, not religious. She had an adopted son who was stood in front of the same exact judge for a shoplifting, and he got convicted for real this time. And the judge recommends that he does his community service in your camp.
This judge says, we need to send you to this camp. Go ahead, go to that camp, and you'll be able to learn properly how to behave. I saw them in action. They came to my courtroom, so well behaved. These concepts that they teach them are just so important. You need to go to that camp.
The camp season was over, but I was just awed by the fact how the judge went out of his way to make sure this woman got in contact with me, because he wanted that this boy should be in the presence of Chayes HaKodesh, of our Yiddish children. By just being who they are, it's going to rub off and have an impression on them.
But it started off as a fun, exciting color war breakout, doing what everybody does. All the Jewish camps have color war themes, but yet, from an outside perspective, it was a whole different perspective.
It's clear how us Yidden are always being observed, and people absorb our good midas, our good actions. how valuable our chinuch, how valuable Kiddush Hashem is, how valuable life of a Torah Yid is. Next time you're in a situation, even though you're having a great time, you're not thinking about, wait a second, is anybody watching me? Is anyone looking? Does anyone notice it? Just remember, look what a judge, a big judge in Denver, look how much he respects you. If he respects you, it should go without saying you should respect yourself.
The nurse, she says to me, "Who's Mr. Fortune?" I said, "He's a security guard in the yeshiva, and he helps us out a lot, etc. We're here to visit him." I said, "Why do you ask?" So she says, "Because in all my years as being a nurse in a hospital, I've never seen ever this many visitors to any one person. Because non-stop, parents came."
Hi, my name is Evan Fortune. I've been security here at Dark A going on March 1st will be 33 years. I love what I do, and with Hashem's help, I will continue on.
Evan Fortune was hired by the yeshiva around 33 years ago because people started talking about security. We have a very large campus, Baruch Hashem, and there was a feeling that we needed to have someone there who can protect the children with Siyata D'Shmaya. Evan Fortune, where we treated him royally, which he himself told me he never was treated so well before. Mamela, when he was being treated in a very fine way by the yeshiva and the rebbeim and the teachers and the talmidim, he responded in kind. He cared for the children. He knew all the children by name. He knew everyone in yeshiva, and he just was there to help. He would come around Friday night when he wasn't working. "What can I do to help you?" He was caring. 15 years ago, he started getting sick here and there a little bit. And 10 years ago, the guy started getting much more serious, right? And the last 5 years was very, very serious. But he really felt he would have died a long time ago. He felt there's a Rebbeinu Shalom of the world, and there's a Schar V'Einish. I'm taking care of the kids. He said this. He said the word Schar V'Einish, but he said, I'm taking care of the Yiddish Kindlech, and Hashem is being good to me. That's why I'm alive today, he said. That's why I'm alive. Yeah, I go to doctors, he would say, I'd go for chemo, I'd go for all these things. But I'm alive because Hashem loves me. A remarkable thing. He's going through treatments the last number of years. So he needed a car to take him there to Manhattan. He was weak. At one point, about a year ago, we sent an email to the parent body. We need volunteers, please, to take Everett twice a week to get his treatment. We got an answer within an hour. About over 100 parents wrote, I'm coming. Any day you want me, I'll take him. That was Kiddush Hashem. The kids saw it. The parents saw it. We saw it. The staff saw it. It's not a Kiddush Hashem when children say, Everett, you need anything, I can get it for you. It's not a Kiddush Hashem when the safety, security person all day says, it's Hashem doing this. I would have died, he said, a long time ago. He said, Hashem is keeping me alive because of you, Kindlech. He would say that to the children. Is that a Kiddush Hashem or not? When a Gentile says, Hashem, thank you for what you're doing for me. It's all because of the kids. All because of the kids. They learned Menschlichkeit. They learned what it means, Kiddush Kveit Shamayim. The way we act, the way we talk, our chinuch to children should care about other children. And the parents were trained. The parents also came along. He loved the children. He died sort of bein hazmanim for the children. Some of the kids called and wrote, I wish I would have davened more. They davened for them. No one told them to daven. They davened. We asked the shallow, by the way, about it. No shallow whatsoever. One boy wrote me a letter. I have it in Shiva. I would have said thank you one more time to him. The derech eretz for him was incredible, and even more was his derech eretz for us. I think teaching Kiddush Hashem is a must, but it's an ongoing inculcation. It's not something you do in one shot. You have to bring into practice certain things going on right around us. Explain to the children why that's a Kiddush Hashem, so the kids live it and breathe it. You can't just preach Kiddush Hashem. They have to see the way the rebbeim act, the way the children act to each other. Everything we do can't be a Kiddush Hashem or Chas V'Shalom Chilul Hashem. Opportunities for Kveit Shamayim are there every day, 10 times a day. You have to see those opportunities. You have to chap the opportunity. When you have a chance to be Kiddush Kveit Shamayim, it's so simple a thing as driving in a car, so simple a thing as opening a door for somebody, that's Kiddush Kveit Shamayim. When you're wearing a hat, or a yarmulke, or a sheitel, and you are personifying the Jewish nation, you can do a Kiddush Hashem daily, weekly, monthly, yearly. We'll have a different hunger with the us. Our job in life as we come to the Mei Din is telling HaKadosh Baruch Hu why we deserve more time in this world, why we deserve more life. Malbu Chanan Afatu Chanan. He's a Rachman. Those are Kaddish Beit Shemayim. HaKadosh Baruch Hu looks down from Shemayim. He does. He looks down. And he says Ashkifa. He looks down. We ask HaKadosh Baruch Hu and Kach from Shemayim and bench us so we can continue doing those things you want us to do. If we're Mekabel by the Mei Selichos, by the Mei Rachman, that we will be Mekadosh at Beit Shemayim, he'll be Mekadosh us, and that's what we want from him.
You have seen glimpses of the profound and far-reaching impact of living with Kiddush Shemayim. We invite you to take part in this ongoing mission. We offer resources for all ages to guide and inspire this way of life, both at home and at school. For those in the professional world, we are launching a series of short clips featuring business leaders sharing their experiences and practical wisdom on how these interactions can elevate your business and bring honor to Hashem. Join us today. Together, we can create a lasting impact. Thank you for being a part of this glorious mission.
We ask Hashem Yisborach, sanctify your name through those who sanctify your name. All the tefillos of Yomim Noraim are all focused on Kovod Shemayim, Kiddush Hashem, the essence of our mission in this world. It's why we are in Golus, and it's the only way out of Golus.
Nekadesh Shemcha ba'olam, Geshem shemakdishim, Oisai b'shmei Noraim.
Nekadesh Shemcha ba'olam, Geshem shemakdishim, Oisai b'shmei Noraim. Kadosh, 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 oh ya 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 Hashem Tzivokos, Melech haaretz kevoidoi, Melech haaretz kevoidoi, Kadosh, Kadosh.
Actions have the power to reflect the same. We show our love in who we are and what we do. Living with Kiddush Hashem and serving you.
Hinaya mitzvot ikris, Kiddush Hashem.
Why we are in Golus, and it's the only way out of Golus. Kiddush Hashem.
למענך אלוהי keinu aseh v'lo ilonu kriyeh yamid aseinu dalim vereikim leman chom eloi keinu aseh velo boilonu riyeh yamidaseinu dalim vereikim haneshama